Hello everyone, it's Angelika Kargulewicz, clinical nutritionist, and in today's episode we will talk about one of the healthiest seeds to eat. And analogous to superfoods, we will talk about super grains, which one are especially valuable when it comes to the seeds. If you are interested in this subject, please stay with me. And when it comes to grains and seeds, they are rather calorically dense. So the question is how much we can eat them. So for example, the lowest amount of the grains is around 70 grams per 1 week. This is for the calorically requirement of 2000 per 1 day. But we can eat even 1 to 3 tablespoons per 1 day, and just to stay healthy, because remember that this fat contained in those grain and seeds is very healthy. And first of all, I would like to talk about pumpkin seeds. They were already used in a traditional medicine as an anti-emetic, but also as an oxidant and also as an anti-inflammatory remedy. Pumpkin seed also possess anti-cancer properties, and they are especially recommended for prostate cancer prevention. And also when it comes about the content of the pumpkin seed, we can find iron. Of course, this is non-Hemp iron, but very helpful when it comes to the regulation of iron homeostasis in the organism. And pumpkin seeds are recommended for people who are deficient in that kind of the mineral, also for the people who already developed anemia, and also for pregnant women, because their requirement for the iron is especially high. Pumpkin seeds are also source of plant-based protein, and in 30 grams of pumpkin seeds we can find around 8 grams of protein. Of course, this is not a complete protein, but when we mix them with another food products, for example with grains, with lentils, we can get quite good quality of the protein. Pumpkin seeds are also source of the squalene, which is an important lipid derivative, also found, for example, in shark liver oil, in olive oil, or for example in amaranth oil. And this substance has some anti-age properties so needed in nowadays societies. An average intake of squalene in developed countries is around 30 milligrams per day, so it is worth including more natural sources of squalene in a daily diet, for example in the form of pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds are also a source of the resveratrol, which is mainly known for its presence in red wine. But to be honest, we do not have to drink red wine in order to obtain resveratrol from our diet. It is enough, for example, to eat pumpkin seeds. And how we can use pumpkin seeds in a daily diet? For example, we can add them to the salad, also we can add them to the vegetable creams, or for example mix in a fruity cocktail. Another healthy seeds are flax seeds, which are the source of omega-3 fatty acids in the form of plant alpha-linolenic acid, with its anti-inflammatory and also cardioprotective properties, because they lower the level of the triglycerides and also normalize the blood pressure. The omega-3 fatty acids contained in flaxseed also possess hepatoprotective effects. They are responsible for a redistribution of fat in the liver and also visceral fat, and they also possess some anti-diabetic and anti-cancer properties. Flax seeds also contain high level of the phytosterols in the form of lignans, with its anti-cancer and low density lipoproteins lowering effects. And also the evidence from the meta-analysis and also systematic reviews show that eating sterols and stanols in the dose of 2 grams per day for 3 to 4 weeks is able to lower the LDL cholesterol level by up to 10%. So it is advisable to eat flaxseed when we experience high level of low density lipoproteins. And how to eat flaxseed? Preferably in a ground form, because of its higher bioavailability of the lignans and omega-3 fatty acids. But remember that this ground form is also a source of energy, and we can obtain even 470 kilocalories for each of the 100 grams of ground flax seeds. Flaxseed also influence the digestive tract. The whole or ground flaxseeds have a laxative effect because of their high dietary fiber content. But because of this fact, always remember to eat flaxseed with liquid or water. And also, due to their mucilaginous polysaccharide content with a high viscosity, flaxseed macerates are also used for gastrointestinal diseases, like for example reflux disease, but also the inflammation of the gastric mucosa. Another healthy seeds are sesame, and when we talk about unshelled sesame, they contain a lot of calcium, and we can find even 975 milligrams of the calcium in 100 grams of sesame, but unshelled one. So approximately 1 tablespoon of the sesame provides around 100 milligrams of the calcium, and this calcium is very important when it comes to the prevention of the osteoporosis, but also when it comes to the regulation of the fat cell metabolism and also the regulation of the blood pressure. Sesame seeds are also source of the copper, iron, lignans and flavonoids, and interestingly, roasting the sesame seeds has a beneficial effect on the content of the lignans. As a result of the heat treatment, substances very beneficial one like sesamol and pinoresinol are released from sesamolin and sesamin. And how you can use sesame seeds. For example, you can use them to prepare your own homemade hummus, and you can also add sesame seed, for example, to your oatmeal or, for example, to the smoothie. Another important seeds are hemp seeds. They were already used in traditional medicine because of their anti-inflammatory effects. They contain lignans and also phenolic compounds. Hemp seeds are also very rich source of the magnesium. In 100 grams of the hemp seeds we can find even 700 milligrams of the magnesium. So for example, when we get 3 tablespoons of the hemp seeds, we obtain around 200 milligrams of the magnesium. But also we provide our organism with the phosphorus, manganese, zinc and potassium, very important for the heart function. Hemp seeds are also the source of the chlorophyll, which is a plant pigment with anti-inflammatory, antioxidant and also anti-cancer properties, because chlorophyll contained in hemp seeds inhibits the carcinogens. And how we can use hemp seed on a daily basis? Very easy. For example, we can add them to the cocktail or for example to the oatmeal. Another healthy seeds are nigella seeds, in other words black cumin, and they are already known in traditional medicine because of its anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, anti-diabetic, immunomodulatory and anti-cancer properties. They are especially rich in carotenoids and also in phenolic compounds. One of the most bioactive compounds in black cumin seeds is thymoquinone, and the administration of 2 grams of black cumin seed powder to people with Hashimoto's disease resulted in a decreased appetite and also improved body composition, mainly weight reduction. Another observation in these patients was decreased TSH and also increased active forms of thyroid hormones, also decreased inflammation and oxidative stress, as well as improved insulin sensitivity. Black cumin seeds can be also very helpful for people with fatty liver, mainly with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. In one study, the administration to those people with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease 2 grams of black cumin seeds in a form of ground seed resulted in a better glycemia and insulinemia, and it was calculated using HOMA-IR index. And another result was an improvement in hepatic steatosis. And how we can use the black cumin seeds? For example, we can add them to the salad, but also it goes well with the eggs in the form, for example, like a scrambled eggs. But the bioactive effect is best documented for the ground seeds. So it's the best advice here to ground them before eating. As you can see, seeds are a very healthy option. They can regulate many of the processes within our organism. And when it comes to buying them on a daily basis, try very small unit packets, not to make them rancid. And also try to choose always unsalted versions. And what is also very important, try to protect them from the exposure to external factors. And for example, if you suffer from gastrointestinal tract diseases like some kind of inflammation of the mucosa, you can eat them in a ground version and in small amounts. If you liked my video about the seeds, please leave the thumbs up and subscribe the channel, and see you soon in the next episode.